friends, welcome back to my channel, A Little Geek, A Little Chic. Today we are going to talk about the books that I read in the month of February. So grab yourself your beverage of choice and let's talk books. In the month of February, I read 2 digital books. One was an audiobook and one was a digital book. And I read 4 physical books. Now, I did kind of have a little bit of a slumpy period in there, so it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be. But still, I think 6 books is pretty decent. I plan on listening to a few more audiobooks this month, so that'll always boost up my totals. As always, sorry about the glare. I'm wearing glasses. P.S. They are new glasses. They have like this wing thing going on. I hope you guys love them because I seriously do. Yeah, let's get started. So first book that I read in the month of February was One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This follows our main character and her boyfriend become husband. And it is heart-wrenching because she gets married there, like high school sweethearts, get married, travel the globe, exciting adventures, and then right at the beginning of the book, he goes in a helicopter and the helicopter crashes and he's presumed dead. Now we go years into the future. She is moved back home, reestablished her life, working at a bookstore. Key ingredient, folks. I love books that feature books and bookstores. So if you know any really good ones, comment down below because I probably will read them. Because books and bookstores as a theme in a book, yep, 100% must pick up all the time. So love that. Little family bookstore making its way, staying relevant in the changing times of digital media. So it's a super relevant book and it was really, really well done. She falls in love again, meets the man of her dreams, who may be from the past. We'll find that out in the book. And then her husband returns. Now, by this time, she is engaged to this man that she is now in love with and has to determine what she wants and where she is now and who she is now and what that means for her and her fiance and her husband and the family and what her life is like and what she really wants. So it is a really good book. I loved it as I knew I would. Taylor Jenkins Reid just gets me and I will read everything that she has put out. I'm trying to read through her backlist this year, which we all know because I've talked about it in a few videos, and this was one of those backlist titles that I'm so happy I got to. This book was clearly a 4 out of 5 stars. There is a little bit I have with the main character that I'm like, yeah, just make up your mind already. But, you know, I get it. The struggle, right? It's a struggle. And I think there's issues with like PTSD and stuff like that that's really touched on well in this book. She did a very good job. So I'm giving this book a 4 out of 5. It's not my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Top spot so far is between Daisy Jones and the Six, which way up there, and Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So, not sure. I'll figure it out as I read through the backlist which one's my absolute favorite, but this one is a solid 4-star book, and if you like Taylor Jenkins Reid and her writing, I suggest you pick it up. Now, next digital I did was I listened to the audiobook that I got from the library of The Wicked King by Holly Black. Holly Black writes really good fantasy YA. Now, I did previously read A Cruel Prince, which is the first book in this trilogy. Loved it. Wicked King, again, very much enjoyed it. However, I don't think that I completely loved it. There's some unanswered questions that I have and that I hope are wrapped up in the 3rd book, but I did like where this one ended. And I'm leery to pick up the 3rd book because I have heard not good things about. If you liked the 1st and the 2nd book, maybe you won't like the 3rd book, or she did some readers dirty or something, and I will probably listen to it or read it. However, I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to decide and internalize whether or not I really want to partake in said book. If it's going to ruin the whole series for me, I don't know if I want to, because I really did enjoy the first 2 books. Now, that book being that it wasn't as good as the first book, and I feel like there was some story and plot issues that I wasn't 100% with, but it kept me captivated, and as an audiobook, it was really well done. I love the characters and the voice actor that they have for this audiobook. They did a really, really good job. And then they took us into new worlds in this book. We get to see more of the different realms or the different worlds and their leaders. So, and like, especially for the sea, it's really cool to get a glimpse at that in this book and like more see how it works. And I quite enjoyed it. So I would say this also was pretty high up there. I would say compared to the first book for me was a 5-star book. So this one I would say would probably be a 4-star book based on some of the issues that I had with it. Hopefully the third book will finish off the series the way I want it to, but based on the reviews, I don't think that's gonna happen. But only time will tell, and I will let you know once I read it or listen to it and what I thought. Next, on to the physical books. Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow. Oh, it had everything I wanted. It was whimsical. It was magical. It's a great middle grade book, and I think everyone should pick it up, just like everyone else on book 2 has already said. I am a late reader to the series, and I loved this book. Jupiter North is whimsical. He's magical. He's weird, and I'm here for all of his quirks. Super cool. He gave me... I can't really remember who he reminds me of, but it's someone from another book. And I want to say Lemony Snicket, but I'm not 100% sure that that's accurate. Kind of Willy Wonka-ish, kind of like he's just strange, and I'm here for it. Morgan is Morgan. I can't remember if it's Morgan or Morrigan. He calls her Mog, which she hates. And I love it because it's like, that's not my name. And it's like, he is sticking to that nickname in this whole book, so it's great. And it follows her and him and her trials to get into the Wondrous Society, which is her way of basically surviving and staying in the Free State, which is where she has moved to, which you find out right at the very beginning, so it's not a spoiler, with Jupiter North. Now, she was born in her state as on the most unlucky day of the year. And any child born on the unluckiest day of the year is doomed to perish on basically the Evertide, or I can't really remember what it's called, but Morningtide? Evernight? I don't know. Anyway, when the clock strikes on the said night, that child is to perish. And she is the daughter of the mayor of this state, so it's very highly profiled, that family and her demise, and everything that goes wrong. She is basically, since she's the cursed child, everything that goes wrong in that state is said to be her fault. So she's just used to being blamed for everything, until one day at the trials, or one day at the bidding, the young people get together in a room, basically like a graduation, but it's not really. They're young, and people bid on them to be apprentices for things in their next level. So they get bids, and usually each child gets a bid from someone. Except for the cursed child. They never get bids. Well, Morgan gets 4 bids. 2 of them they think were jokes, and 2 of them are legitimate bids, which is unheard of. It is unheard of for an individual or a child to get 2 bids. Rare, very rare, let alone 4. So this shakes up the whole city and the whole state, and they think it's just a joke, and the mayor just kind of keeps her hidden away, then's like, you're not gonna make a fool out of me. So hides her away until one of her bids comes to collect her before her parish date, and that is Jupiter North. And then all the calamity that ensues at this magical hotel with different rooms, and it grows things and things happen, and it's just a great experience. Pick this book up if you haven't already. You will not regret it. It is just such a great middle grade. If you have kids, read this to them. This is great. It gives you kind of like Harry Potter-esque vibes, but not as you get older into the Harry Potter, it gets older in its content. This is very it's much more approachable for middle and younger kids. So if you're looking for something to read to them to maybe branch them into Harry Potter, this is it. Next on my list that I read was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey Mcquiston. Now this book was on my most anticipated, my 5-star predictions. That's what it was on. And I must say I did enjoy Alex and Henry. Alex being the son of the President of the United States, and Henry being the son of the heir to the throne, basically. The son of the next queen. And it was very fantastic. Each of them deals with their own issues in their family. No surprise, you find out at the beginning. Alex's dad is not with them. His mom is remarried. She is the President of the United States. So him and his sister live with her, and they're in college. He has dreams of working in politics, and his sister has dreams of being a writer, and a freelance writer or editorial, doing something in that realm. And then you have Henry and his family. He has a sister who has her own issues that you find out about in this book, and she is a card, you guys. I just love her. And then you have Henry's older brother, younger brother, the middle child, I think, who's recently gotten married. And then you have their mother, who is kind of obsolete from their life currently, and the grandmother, who is extremely strict and follows by old family values and old family rules as per what is required of a royal family. The mother comes around a little bit more at the end of the book, and you get to find out more about her and her reasonings and things, and it's great. It's a great wrap up for that character. I find that it's unfortunate that the father figure for Henry is not in the picture. He has passed, and you find out about that in the beginning of the book, so that's not a super spoiler. But it's kind of funny that it's reminiscent of the current royal family, with the brothers and the father, and the mother has passed, right? Harry, William, Charles. And we've heard more about the strict rulings of royal family and life and what's expected of them based on the Harry and Meghan Markle experience thing that's been going on. So everybody knew what kind of life you had as a royal, but this book is just kind of like a good glimpse from a reading perspective of a fictional account of what it would be like to be a royal. Hit myself with the glasses. To be a royal and to have all these rules but not be what they expect of you, and want to live your own life and be in a relationship with said gentleman. So it is amazing. I love this book. It was done so well. It did take me a little while to get into, though. The beginning, I'll admit, I wasn't feeling the characters. I think it was about page 100 and chapter 5, so 109-ish, before I really started to warm up to the characters. So just take that note. If you're either going to be gripped by it instantly, or it's going to take you a little bit, but stick to it, because as you get into it and you get more into the characters and they start to warm up to one another, that's when it gets real good. So I unfortunately was not a 5-star for me because of the slow go, and it was hard for me to continue picking back up. So I would give this book a 4 out of 5. I have a lot of 4 out of 5s this month, but it was just a little bit shy of a 5 for me. And it's unfortunate, but it was still a really good book, and I'm so glad I finally got on the train and read it. The next book I read was a shocker. The Enchanted. So this book, I didn't know very much about it. It looked like literary fiction. As I read a little bit more about it, I got it on sale at a used book sale in our city that supports a local symphony. And I was like, you know what? I've heard about it. It's supposed to be really, really good and like a modern classic. And it was $2. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. And then I picked it up and it sat on my shelf. As is the story of so many of these books. But I read it, and I should have known I was going to love it right away, because at the top it is blurbed as a wondrous book that finds transcendence in the most unlikely of places by Erin Morgenstern, author of The Night Circus. One of my all-time favorite reads, The Night Circus. So the fact that she blurbed on the cover of this book made me think that I might really enjoy it, and I did. This book is short, but it was captivating. The most of it is told from the narrative perspective of an inmate waiting to be put to death on death row. And they don't speak, they are a mute individual, and it's the insights and mute, and I think he has some learning developmental issues. Is smart, can read, can put all his thoughts together, but sometimes doesn't really know how to articulate the thoughts because of being mute and not conversing in society with other people. And you get a story of a lady who her job is she works for some lawyers, and her job is to come in, investigate these cases on death row, and either get them relaxed so these people can be an inmate in the general populace of the prison, or released of charges so that they are no longer doomed to death in either situation. Now, her most recent case that she is fighting, she could get the individual lowered to a lesser sentence and general populace, or perhaps released, but that is not what the inmate wants. The inmate's ready. He wants to perish. He's had enough of living and his life is done. He doesn't want to be saved. And it is crazy to see their two perspectives. Plus then you get the warden of the prison who is dealing with things at home. Plus you get the drug and seedy what are they, jailers, guards who are not the most respectable and are maybe doing other things within the prison that are outside of what they should be doing and that are unbeknownst to said warden. So, and it affects other members of the prison. So you find out about some young people that just got put in the prison, and there's so much in this little book, and the whole of it is captivating. I loved this read. This book was heart-wrenching. It made you laugh at times. It involves books, because the one guy who's mute loves to read and go to the library and read a lot, and there's parts in it that talk about books, and they just get me in my soul, and it was just such a good read. So if you have heard of this and you have not picked it up, please do. It is an amazing piece of literary fiction, and that is The Enchanted by Renee Denfeld. And it's a backlist title, so I'm sure you can find it at your local library, or perhaps on Libby. But man, it gave me Green Mile vibes, and you just fell for the character like you do in Green Mile. It gave me Green Mile vibes, but more intricate on what's going on within the actual prison society, and it was just phenomenal. I highly recommend this book. 5 out of 5 stars. If it wasn't obvious, favorite read of the month, and most surprising, because I didn't expect much going in from this book, and I honestly thought, well, maybe it'd be like a 3-star, because I don't usually gravitate towards literary fiction as much, and this was fantastic. So 5 out of 5. It's just a fantastic book. It might make my best reads of the year list, so watch for it again, because I'm pretty sure it will be coming up again at the end of the year in December. Finally, I have the husband pick. Okay, so The Watchman. The Watchman is a graphic novel about a group of vigilante crime fighters who have a society of crime fighters, and they are vigilantes who some have powers and most do not. They fight crime and do things for the government until crap goes awry and they are asked to turn in all said merchandise and no longer allowed to be vigilantes. They are no longer allowed to fight crime. That's not allowed. So they now go about their regular everyday jobs and lives until someone starts killing off these leftover vigilantes who haven't perished already from their own demises, drugs, alcohol, cancer, you name it, right? These disease, old age. But now they are being terminated by they don't know who. And the one man in this Rorschach has decided to find out who's killing off the Watchmen, which is the group name for this group of vigilantes. It opens up with the comedian, one of the perhaps most corrupted vigilante, or the one with the most problematic personality, being killed and pushed out a window. And he is not without fault. He is not a good vigilante. He is sex-crazed, womanizing, rude, lewd, cruel, but nonetheless, he's a vigilante and he is one of them. And whether you love or you hate him, the fact that he's being killed off by someone who's after them all is a premise, and it is the reason why they are, whether you love him or hate him, it's not an acceptable demise to someone who did uphold law and perhaps just had some mental issues and PTSD and stuff like that going on. My favorite character in this is probably Dr. Manhattan. He's blue. He had a nuclear accident and it turned him blue, and he can do things now that other people can't, like transport himself places and things, and it's really good. His character's done really well. That being said, I didn't love this graphic novel. It's not my favorite. My favorite superhero, hands down, nobody's surprised. Everybody who knows me knows I love Batman. Batman is the king of my superhero realm, and nobody can unseat him. However, the way that Dr. Manhattan is done dirty by the government on multiple occasions, and now they're not allowed to be vigilantes, but now he's basically a ward of the state, and they basically use him as a weapon, or are holding him as a weapon, is not cool. And that part, I felt really bad for him, and I felt for that character. So just trying to understand himself and what he is without the pressures of being this tool for the government is crazy. And it was really, really good. His character's done very well, and I was very impressed. I think I also like the guy who played the owl because, you know, he's had some rough goes, and I just felt for him because Rorschach clearly thinks that he's up to no good. So kind of watched that also. The Rorschach was an interesting character. He is a prime character in this entire graphic novel, and he just kind of does what he wants. So at one point at the beginning of the graphic novel, he goes into this guy's house and he's eating his pork and beans out of a can because he's hungry, and he was there waiting for him. So like, you just never know when he's going to show up, or if he's going to be in your house. When you wake up, he's going to be standing over you, and he gives 0 Fs. So he is going to, if he thinks you wronged him, he is going to punish you. And that's the problem with involving him in these investigations, is people end up dead. And that's one of the things that the police do not want, is more dead people. So he's kind of on his own. He's still acting as a vigilante, even though he's not supposed to find out what's happening and to save the people that are, the Watchmen that are left. So I appreciated the graphic novel for what it was. It is a large graphic novel. I haven't 100% finished it yet. I'm at the end. So I will finish it in the next day or so. But what I found out with the Watchmen is I don't love the art style of this graphic novel, which was kind of upsetting, because for it being so big, you want to love the art style and just go into it and just love the art style. But like, this is your premise of your art style throughout the majority of the book. There's not a lot of really good, bold, like the drawings are great, don't get me wrong, but it's just kind of monotone. And when you're reading such a big graphic novel, I found that it was dark color-wise. Of course, it's dark story-wise also, but it's dark color-wise. And I know that was probably done to mirror the darkness of the actual story. But when you're reading it for a long period of time, my eyes got tired, and I was just like, it's nighttime, and it's dark already, and it's dark pictures, and it's dark pages, and I could only read so much of it without being like, yeah, I had enough. So that I didn't love. When I read a graphic novel, I want it to be pop and be catching. So contrast would have been a little bit better in this. All in all, it's a decent story. Wasn't my favorite read. The movie might be better. I'll let you guys know if I like the movie better if I ever watch it. And yeah, I think this one will be a 3. 3-star for me. You can't all be winners. I feel bad because my husband really likes this one, but it's just not my jam. Yeah, that's it. That is all the books that I read in the month of February. Let me know down below what you read in the month of February. Did you have a good reading month, or did you kind of have one like me where it got a little bit laggy in there and you had a little bit of a slump? But slumps are okay. They happen. On to March, where we'll be doing a backlist readathon and some heavy reading goals in March. But that's it for me today. Hope you liked this video. As always, I appreciate all of your likes and your subscribes. See you soon in another video.